Hey everyone, I have returned with a brand new update video. Let us get started on the diet. So in the morning, I immediately weighed myself. Currently, I am 170.2, so it's nice to see it go down. As for what I ate, well, I had some of that low carb, what was it called again? The cereal that ratio, the ratio cereal with high protein, low carbs, 9 grams of carbs. It's a little high, but at least it fits within the limit of 25 grams a day. Then, when I had almond milk to go in it. Then I had 2 slices of bologna with 1 slice of sharp cheddar cheese. And that is what I had in the morning. Then in the afternoon, which was around 6:30, I had a bologna keto sandwich, which included 2 slices of that keto bread with bologna, again, 2 slices with 1 slice of cheese, sharp cheddar. I also put some olives in because I like the way bologna and olives taste. I think it's pretty good. Mayonnaise, mustard, cayenne pepper. Pretty good. Yeah. And then, as a little dessert to myself, I had the last Fulfill protein low carb candy bar with peanut butter in it, which is more of like a nougaty kind of flavored taste, not really like a Recess at all. But it was pretty good for what it was, and I did enjoy it. And I had a cup of coffee and an A&W Zero Sugar. Any exercise today? Well, this is hilarious to say, but I did like 5 jumping jacks, if that counts. Why so little? Well, honestly, I don't really have a good reason. I just did 5. I guess I was lazy. Hey, at least I did something. And also, just a whole lot of walking at work today. Now that we've covered the entirety of the diet update, let's get on with the daily update. So, I woke up at around, I think around like 7 to use the restroom. I went back to sleep again, and then I woke up at like 10:30. Very late, which was really odd to me because like I went to bed at like 1 in the morning, and normally when I go to bed that, like, it's still late, but it's not like 2 or 3 late. Normally when I go to bed that late, I like wake up at like 8:30 at the latest, so the fact I stayed in bed until like 10:30 was pretty crazy. And I checked my phone's call history, because I knew that my auto shop would be contacting me to tell me the car would be completed. And lo and behold, there was a number there from 9:45 in the morning. And so I contacted the number. It was the auto shop, and I let them know that I would be on my way very soon. Afterwards, I had some of the ratio cereal, which was okay. It was a bit like styrofoam, if I'm being honest, but got the job done, I suppose. And I was eating that while watching a video from a channel called IHETV, where the host of the channel was talking about the new DreamWorks film Bad Guys 2, and how he said the film felt like a first draft of a script, and it really should have went through a few more rewrites to punch up the jokes and just make it a overall more funny and interesting film. And he said that like it was generally just okay, but nothing to really write home about. which I thought was interesting. I mean, I watched the first Bad Guys because I really do like DreamWorks Animation Studios. I find their setup of films very diverse and unique, and I always am down for a film that captures my interest. Now, I actually did not watch the first Bad Guys in theaters because when I saw the trailer, I gotta be honest, I really wasn't digging the art style. Like, it looked really chibi, really cutesy. Like, they were going for sort of like a anime aesthetic, kind of. And I just found it a little too childish for me. I don't know. I mean, I know it's a movie for kids, and that's the target audience, but I always found DreamWorks films to be more widely appealing. Like at least some of their better ones, like Prince of Egypt and the first like Shrek and the second one do. And I feel like around the mid 2000s they started just making their films like more like childish, but you still did get some interesting hits here and there. Like I love the first Kung Fu Panda. That's a great film. Um, I think the first How to Train Your Dragon is very very enjoyable. I liked it. Um, I even liked The Wild Robot, and the Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is one of the best films I watched the year it came out. So they're a really talented studio. But I don't know. When I watched The Bad Guys eventually when it came to streaming, it didn't really do much for me. I mean, there was a lot I found appealing about like the way it was presented. Like it's clear like the people who made it were very much inspired by like films like Pulp Fiction, but it was like kind of like a Pulp Fiction but for kids. But I don't know. It was okay. I haven't really felt compelled to watch the second one, so that must say something about the first one, where it was okay, but it wasn't so good enough for me to want to see a new The Bad Guys. Well, anyways, after that long rant, let's move on to going to get the car. I invited my sister, and she agreed to come. And before we left, she wanted to have some coffee. And as she was having the coffee, she told me she had some of the Trident Vibes Sour Patch Kids gum. And she said she thought it was really good. And yeah, I said, yeah, I really enjoyed it, like, as well. I noticed they only were selling, like, blue and red and orange, but they weren't selling any green. And it got us to talk about a whole conversation about if they sold Sour Patch Kids, but just, like, the one flavor in a bag, like, which flavor would be the least successful and which one would be the most successful. And apparently, like, we both agreed green would not be the most successful, it would be the least one. So that was kind of fun. Well, after she was done with her coffee, she got ready and we headed off to the auto shop, which was fairly close by. So it wasn't too much of a trip. When we arrived, the nice man who greeted us was telling us all about the vehicle and what they changed and why they changed it, and what could have happened if we didn't get it in sooner, and or if if we continue riding it the way it was performing. And yeah, most of the time I was like, oh, all right, and in the back of my mind I was like, ooh, wow, this is pretty complex, but he worked really hard and he knows his stuff, so I'm gonna see if I can gain something from this. But I gotta be honest, I was mostly just like nodding my head going interesting, but overall I was like kind of confused. I'm not a car mechanic myself, but I appreciate that he was showing the technical side of things and what was going on, and he did a good enough job to where I somewhat understood at the time, but honestly, if I tried to tell you right now from memory, I wouldn't be able to because it was really complex. Well, after that, I paid for the repairs, which was a eye-watering $469.86. I paid with both a check and cash, and we left on our way in the car. The brake system was completely redone from the ground up, so my car now has fresh brakes, so that's really good. Yeah, feeling safer than ever in that bad boy. Well, once we got home, I let my sister know of this interesting YouTube channel that was recommended to me, and I was watching like a YouTube video before leaving to the auto shop in the restroom about this guy who apparently was able to explain like the 5 levels of dreams and going deeper and deeper into each level and what it means, and he had a bunch of other videos about like exploring the human mind. And one of his videos was about like the weird worlds of like obscure psychedelics. So we decided to check out that one because that sounded quite interesting to us. And the guy who made the video did a really good job breaking it down and explaining it in a way that was both entertaining and informative. His editing style and use of clips like The Simpsons and SpongeBob very much reminded me of the editing style of someone like Emp Lemon, which is another YouTube content creator who makes some really great videos. So, really enjoyed it, and I actually hope he makes a sequel to that video. It was that good. I thought it was very, very engaging. Clearly did his research. He clearly was super into what he was discussing, and he was he just had some good editing in there too. After we watched that video, me and my sister discussed what we thought of it, and then my sister got into a very long conversation about the Hebrew letters that form the word God and what each letter represents, and how like each symbol could be seen as like a different form of like the triangle shape. It was a really complex and intricate explanation of like creation and like the Jewish people's understanding of who God is and what he represents. It was pretty enlightening, I would say. Well, after she explained that, it was time for me to get ready for work. So I got dressed and well prepared, and then I was getting a little peckish, so I had 2 slices of salami that sandwiched bologna, that sandwiched a piece of cheese, and I ate that. Then I said goodbye to my sister, and I went on my way to work. Now, as I was going to work, I was just really just in a drive zone. Like, I was just focused on the road and going there as safely as I could. Now, when I eventually got in and punched in, the schedule was 1 hour in the front end, 1 hour doing a lot, and then I think it was 2 hours doing sweeps. And yeah, not much to really say, just did my job and tried to do the best I could. I couldn't really think of any interesting interactions, really, the first half. Then I punched out, I drove home, and when I got home, I was listening to a guy who claimed to be like an Area 51 researcher talk about like what he believed was his findings, and honestly, it just was way too much and didn't really feel like it went anywhere, and just felt like the ramblings of a crazy guy. I stopped watching halfway through because I felt like it wasn't really going anywhere, and I was wasting my time. So instead, I found another podcast called Weaponized with two hosts. One was like named Jeremy Corbell, and then the other one I forget his name. And they were talking about like there was like a guy who was like a former Area 51 employee who was discussing like what he knew, and apparently like he witnessed like interesting strange craft flying that had no visible means of propulsion but somehow was able to lift to the sky without making a sound. Some interesting stuff. And as I was listening to this, I was making the keto-friendly bologna sandwich with cheddar and olives and cayenne pepper with my protein Quest chips. Ate that with my A&W Zero Sugar root beer. And then I had the last Fulfill a protein keto-friendly candy bar. Finally, once I was done with everything, I drove back to work, where the last 4 hours, well, the first hour was spent doing front-end work. The next hour, I believe, actually, the last 3 hours was spent doing sweeps, with, of course, the last 2 hours doing both sweeps and making sure lot was clear. I was the main closer today, and there was only 2 closers today. I gave my co-closer 3 check stands, trash duty, refilling cleaners, paper towels, refilling the what are those things called? Receipt tape, and refilling bags in the check stands while I wiped down 4 check stands, cleared the lot, closed the produce blinds, and brought in 16 carts with the signs. And we were able to get it done pretty soon. Yeah, it was pretty easy this time, this closing session, not gonna lie. And well, one interesting thing happened near closing, and that was that there was someone who needed to get picked up by the paramedics, and it was a customer that does come in for a while, so here's prayers going out for them, hoping that they're okay and that they make a swift recovery. Well, we finished doing our closing chores. I was able to get out at around 11:22, I believe. And I remember around the end, my boss, who's one of the key carriers, was walking to me out and asked me, "What you gonna do tomorrow?" And I was like, I don't know. It's just like, sit on your butt. And I'm like, probably, because, you know, I'm looking at what I do when I get my time off, and 9 times out of 10, that's usually what I do. I should probably do something more interesting than sitting on my butt watching YouTube videos all day. Just a thought. Well, after walking out of the store, I got into my vehicle, and then I started watching a guy react to the new Pixar film called Hoppers. And he said basically that I thought looked okay, but also kind of annoying as well. Um, I think it looks interesting. I'll probably check it out. I think the most interesting thing about it is that the person directing it has only done like TV cartoons before, specifically the cartoon We Bare Bears. And I think this might be the first time that Pixar has gotten like someone who's like in the age range of millennials to who's only worked on like TV shows to come into the studio to make a feature length film. And on that basis alone, that does make me quite interested in seeing what it's about. Um, because I've seen some episodes of We Bare Bears, and I think it's pretty cute and um, charming cartoon. So maybe this will be a cute and charming movie. There's only one way to find out, and that's when it releases on March 2026. Well, after watching that, I decided to put on a UAP GURB video where he's interviewing someone who witnessed a black triangle floating in the sky and was stopped by unmarked military men who were like, "You shouldn't be seeing this. This is something you shouldn't be seeing." And he was basically going through his story beat for beat. And the host of the interview was getting into more detail about like where he believes the craft went, what he thinks the craft is. Pretty interesting. And then when I got home, I greeted our family friend who was watching TV, and I asked about my sister, and she said that she won't be back until 2 because her job, they work her late from 7 to 2 a.m. in the morning. So I thought, dang, that's crazy. So, yeah. And then I went into my room, got out of my work clothes, and, well, here I am making this video. Well, after recording this, I'm going to take my vitamins, I'm going to brush my teeth, and I want to make like a list, like a to-do list tomorrow of things that I think are important that should get done and then do them. So I won't just, throw my day off away not doing anything. I think that might be a good idea. Well, we'll see. I'll tell you if I did that or not in my next update video. Well, that's about it. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.